What's up, everybody? Just want to take a quick second and let people know that I am self-supported. I now put all of my episodes on Substack for paid subscribers. I put them up early, and then 24 hours later, I release them to the public on all my platforms. I also have Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee, Zelle, a P.O. Box, and Locals, Patreon. And all of these, all of the links are in the show notes of every single episode I put out. So look forward to continuing to, provide great conversations. And thank you all for your continued support. What did somebody write on X? They said, Matt Bracken, you seem to have the exclusive on it. And I said, I said, yeah, it's in his contract. He can only do appearances on Coffee and a Mike.
I'll tell you what, if we recorded the last 20 minutes, it would be the end of both of us.
It was terrible. Nobody would have liked to listen to it.
All the inside gossip on all these,
influencers, media,
no
MAGA,
names,
left, right, whatever.
No, we don't. But it really does. The whole thing totally upsets me about this circular firing squad, fratricide, the Heritage Foundation over Tucker Carlson versus Ben Shapiro, with the Heritage Foundation in the crossfire. It's such a waste. It's such a, we're in the same foxhole. So somebody throw grenades, we can just kill ourselves. Meanwhile, the Democrats are just like all, full bore, balls to the wall. Virginia AG says, let's kill, Republicans. Mayor of New York says, defund the police. Let's have free food and free buses. I mean, and the Republicans are you pure enough to be in the Republican Party?
This episode is brought to you by McIlvaney Financial Group. Their advisors bring a depth of knowledge and experience that allow them to serve their clientele with care, ensuring their financial needs are met now and in the future. Personally, I'm not saying cash is worthless, but you can see what's happening. It's worth less every year. Gold is the opposite. Click on the promo link in the show notes or go to www.mcilvaney.com/coffee and a mic. After Mamdani becomes mayor, and let me throw this out to people. Like, I'm not in support.
Will that be in January?
I don't know when it is. Is it January?
I'm thinking it is.
I am not in support of this guy whatsoever. But I will say, one of the debates that he had, and Cuomo and I think Chris Slee was there. I don't know if I saw the video, what his response was, but they asked them, what would you do? Somehow related to what would you do in your first 2 months of office? Did you see that clip that's going around?
No.
And one of them said, it somehow tied back to Israel. I'd go visit Israel. And Mamdani responded with, I would stay in New York. I would, spend my time. And I'm probably getting what the question was wrong. But anyway, everybody said Israel except for him. And I thought to myself, and again, I'm not supporting him, but I'm like, here's a guy who gets it. Simple message.
Well, it's a tipping point.
But it's simple.
We're beyond a tipping point. My entire life, New York was the Jewish vote. Jesse Jackson, who ran for president on the Rainbow Coalition, his moment where he was almost excommunicated from media was when on some open mic he called New York City Hymietown. Okay, Hymietown. Well, it was an open mic, and it was like, oh my God, Jesse Jackson said New York is Hymietown, which obviously, New York City was like what the more people of the Jewish faith live there than in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem or whatever. And so my entire life, the center of gravity of New York politics maybe they weren't the majority population, but certainly the majority influence and power and financial clout were the Jews in New York City. Okay, just fact. And since Biden came in, or maybe Obama, then Biden, New York City has just been an open sanctuary city. I mean, so during the Biden years, I would say 15 to 20 million illegals came in, and many more legal illegals, what Aaron McIntyre calls paperwork Americans, you know, family reunification. One guy gets in from Uganda and his whole village has to come in the next 5 years. So paperwork Americans. I saw something in the last day or two. 2/3 of New York City residents have a family member or household member not born in America. So either they're like an illegal that came and dropped anchor babies, you know, or somebody who came legally and then snuck in their family members, and under family reunification, they're all claiming asylum. Well, we've seen they're all voting, and in California too. In California, in California, this is going back 20 years now. They passed motor voter. Oh, that's great. Make more things more convenient. Republicans, that's why they call the Republicans a stupid party. The Democrats are the evil party, and the Republicans are the stupid party. So they passed motor voter. We'll make it more convenient to get a driver's license. Isn't that nice? Well, so on one side is driver's license, and on the other side is voter registration. In California, and probably New York and Oregon and other states, you have to like put a line through. No, I don't want to be a voter because I'm an illegal alien, right? So every swinging Richard that comes into the DMV that says, you know, yo quiero driver license, gets the form, and they say, Pablo, you know, Ahmed, off the boat, here's your form. Just fill it out. And I've been in DMVs in California and I've seen this. The guy filling it out cannot read English. He can't read it, or Spanish. So they allow you to have a coach. I've seen this for the driver's license test. Like, you know, you're looking at the pictures of signs. You're allowed to have a coach. You're allowed to have a coach. Imagine how that goes. So everybody in New York, California, many other states, driver's license, motor voter, you have to like put a Sharpie line through, no, don't send me a voter card because I'm an illegal alien. Who's going to do that? Everybody that gets the driver's license has a voter card, you know, a ballot sent to their house. Any name you put down, you know, Pablo Rivero, Muhammad, it doesn't matter. 123 Elm Street. You get your driver's license in the mail, you get your voter card in the mail. You have to say, no, I am an illegal alien. I'm going to block this out. I do not want to be sent a ballot. So everything is leaned towards let anybody vote. And that's how people like Mamdani can win. The guy was only in New York for 5 years. He's a Mohammedan Muslim from Uganda. So he's part of, you know, and he's in America, and now he's the mayor of New York. Can you imagine the Rockefellers? Franklin Roosevelt, wasn't he the governor of New York first? I mean, can you imagine them saying some guy from Uganda, a Mohammedan from Uganda, comes to America, he's a communist, he's got a whole history. I hate effing capitalism. I'm a communist. I love communism. He comes to America, he signs, no, I never said anything about that. Here, and 5 years later, he's the mayor. And it's not because he's so charming, and he is. He's very charming. But there's a lot of parallels to Obama. You know, a dubious background. You know, was Obama really born in Kenya? What about that birth certificate? What about that social security number? But Obama was an anointed one. Obama was recognized like by the scouts, like baseball or football scouts. That you have scouts at college level, then you even have like scouts that are looking at high schools. Like they're looking at 100 high school teams where like 20% of the NFL or NBA came from these 100 high schools. So it's like we're looking at high school freshmen. This guy is going to be something, right? They're looking at some videotape of Mamdani 10 years ago. This guy talks like a Ben Shapiro. He is like got the gift of gab. This guy is like a young Obama. And from that point on, all the doors open in front of him like magic. All he has to do is, carry the book bag that he's given and walk forward, and every door in front of him is going to open like magic. And I mean, that's how Obama went from like state senator to Illinois senator to president, like jump, jump, jump.
J.D. Vance.
Yes, and
not that I don't. I want to stay on Mamdani, but just
no. But if the magic door is open, I hope that I'd rather the magic door be somebody leaning my way. If this is all a BS charade, and it's really magic doors and anointings, because Vance was like deep selected on the farm team, single A belt ball. Like I very rarely watch baseball, but that guy that pitched in the first game of the World Series, Savage. He went from single A ball, like Florida playing in front of 300 people in like April, to opening the World Series. Okay. And my point is, it's great when that happens and it's real, like baseball. And if it's going to happen for an evil purpose, like Mamdani or Obama, I hate it. But I can't expect that it won't happen sometimes for a J.D. Vance.
Well, we'll go to the J.D. Vance, but I want to stay on Mamdani for a second because J.D. Vance leads to Peter Thiel and Palantir and all that. So I want to keep that in a separate category for right now. But
sometimes people are recruited by A, but they jump out of the box. They say, "Thank you for recruiting me and giving me a launch pad, but now I've escaped you and I'm now a free agent." It happens too.
Yeah. Well, but so with Mamdani though, I mean, a couple of things that came to my mind as I'm watching this. First of all, it was everybody projected him to win all year, right? Like this was not a secret. He had two spots on the ballot.
Yeah, you get 2 spots on the ballot. I mean, okay.
So for people that are saying like New York, it's over. It's like, guys, it's been over for a while. Like this is not a football game. This is not the fourth quarter. This is one of the frustrations I'm having right now. Like, because people, and I was part of this, where it's like, okay, I thought you're treating it like it's a football game. This is not a football game, and it was not the fourth quarter. You knew this was coming. You knew it. Like all year, I mean, you saw that wasn't even close. And what do? They prop up Cuomo.
Tim Pool, I don't have the quote offhand, but Tim Pool basically said the Republicans are the party of pussies. Okay? It's like, don't say anything bad about them because they might hurt us in the future. Meanwhile, the Democrats are like, I want to shoot your kids in the head. You'll get elected, no problem. I want to have free supermarkets. I want to have free buses. No problem, you'll be elected. The Democrats are playing for blood, and the Republicans are like, well, we can't stoop to their level. If you're in a boxing match, and it's like the Marquis de Queensberry rules. I got my boxing gloves on, right, and and the other guy's like, he's corrupted the ref who's just stabbed you in the back, and he, what I mean. And the Republicans still say, but we can't stoop to their level. We'd rather go down to defeat in purity, like this heritage flap. We'd rather be gone extinct as a political movement, but retain our purity.
But I don't look at it as like purity though. I look at the Republic. I'm so disgusted with the Republicans, and not only the Republicans, the media, the media that they don't even question. They're in the briefing rooms and not even asking tough questions of what's going on.
Tonight is the Patriot Awards. Sean Hannity is
I didn't know. Well, and people are more concerned. And here's the thing with the Republicans too. They're more concerned with,
they're gonna. It's like the Titanic. You're having the orchestra awards, like Titanic's best orchestra.
they don't get it, Matt. Like they just don't get it. Like, I mean, I saw a video. It was a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was longer, where Carrie Lake is bowling in the White House, and I'm just like, this is the problem. One of the problems, and maybe this is me. But the optics of it, I don't see, and I'm not an AOC supporter at all, but you don't see her at fancy restaurants or bowling or being a celebrity. I don't see that with those people. And to me, it's like they want to get to Mar-a-Lago. They want Christmas.
Michael Yan and I have, who we, in the 20-minute pre-show, which if that was ever recorded, Michael Yan and I have traded conversations back and forth about all of these corrupting invitations. This guy wants you to go on his podcast and he thinks he'll get you an invitation to Mar-a-Lago. This is how they dangle the, when I was a kid, I had relatives that had horses out on a farm. They were horsey people. They just had a couple of ponies and we did shows and stuff like that. But if you have got a horse and it hadn't been ridden all winter and it's, 10-acre mud field and you got to walk out there, the horse is like, I do not want a saddle put on. And the last time I saw a human, like last November, December, they put so the horse like walks off into the deep mud and you got to hide the bridle behind your back, because you're going to put a bit in its mouth, or first a halter, then a bridle. So you're walking out there sweet talking with an apple or a carrot or something, and the horse is like, I don't buy this shit at all. I know what you're trying to do. First you're going to get a halter on me, then you're going to drag me over and tie me to a wall, then you're going to put a saddle on me, then you're going to put a steel thing in my mouth, and I don't want it. Okay, so this is the procedure that we get, which is, why don't you go on this guy's podcast? It's like a podcast that's completely inorganic, that has all these likes but no views. All the math doesn't work. It's all these red flags, and it's like, if it goes good, you can get on this podcast, and then it's like hint from somebody else, you'll get invited to Mar-a-Lago. Okay. That's the carrot and the halter behind the back, leading you to be tied to the barn with a bit in your mouth and a saddle on your back. So fortunately, Michael Yan and I and a few others, we've always been like, we're the horses that are like, nah, we're just going to keep walking through the muddy field. Well, we're not putting a saddle on.
The thing about it to me is you were supposed to.
And I like Carrie Lake.
I do too. I had her on. I met with her. I mean, but
it's tempting. It's tempting.
It's the optics of all of this that, like, and that was just the first thing that came to mind from. And this was a few months ago.
Can you remember, like, in another century, Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes and Kanye West went to Mar-a-Lago? Can you believe that? In the context of right now today, can you imagine? I mean, the currents that are flowing.
Do you wonder with that though? Like, all of a sudden, and I like Nick Fuentes. I mean, he was pointing things out last year that I was like, wow, it made me think differently. But
he's a troll. Look, he's a troll.
He's a provocateur. He's a
troll.
provocateur. He's a provocateur. I like that word better. Provocateur.
Yes.
He's in the category. Laura Loomer is a provocateur. Nick Fuentes is a provocateur. Pearl, whatever her last name is, that girl is the provocateur of all of them on X. She gets these older women so fired up.
Who?
I think it's Pearl Davis, redhead. She gets
redhead libertarian or
no. That's Josie something. No. Her name is. I think it's Pearl Davis.
She's a big Israel first.
This Pearl, the one I'm talking about, Pearl. I could look her up really quick, but
one of the best.
She gets people.
That said, one of the best things about social media, X podcasts, I have followed so many people on X that I never heard of before.
Pearl Davis.
Right? I never heard of Jack Gamble before your show, and I never heard of Freightways before your show. So these are guys I follow now, and I can't remember. I think it was it Freightways? It's Craig
Craig Fuller.
but I think he said like there's subject matter experts that you find, and it's like, oh, I've weeded through all these trolls and all these bots, and it's like this guy, he's like a Sal Mercogliano, like you watch What's Up with Shipping, Sal Mercogliano, it's like that's the straight dope, and that doesn't mean drugs. That was like an old term, right? I'm a boomer. That's the straight stuff, and you find in I'm a subject matter expert here, but I'm not there. And when you finally find a subject matter expert in these different categories and you follow them, it's like I can really weed out the bullshit now because I know who these subject matter experts are. So Craig, what's his name?
Fuller.
Freightways?
Craig Fuller.
Yeah, Craig Fuller, Freightways, and Jack Gamble.
Nobody special finance on YouTube.
Nobody special finance. When you find these guys, it's like I just found a diamond, but somebody said, look over there. And it's like you picked up a diamond. That's one of the best things about social media. Before Musk more or less liberated X, you could be siloed, not because you were trying to be siloed, but it's because it's the only input you got. I watch Fox, Tucker's great, then Hannity sucks. Well, and now Tucker's gone, but I watch Fox. Forget that. You can bouncing between Twitter, and for me, I always be on Gab because they never stabbed me in the back or betrayed me and X'd me out for 4 or 5 years.
I only get traffic on Gab is when you reshare me. I don't get any traction on that site.
I guess I'm something on Gab, but like people like Steven Crowder and Mark Dice, they still post on Gab because it's like the regime could change next week on Twitter and I'm like banned. So I parallel post. I don't do Getter
I don't do Getter anymore.
There's like so many.
Truth I don't do anymore.
I don't do that. But
let me ask you something though. Don't you find it odd that Fuentes is now allowed back on YouTube and that he's hitting these main platforms where you couldn't post anything about him.
They think he does more damage to the cause by talking.
So you think that's why they're letting him on it now?
Sure, that's why. The Spider-Man meme of everybody pointing. The 6 Spider-Mans that are all pointing. That was so great about the Tucker Fuentes podcast, which I recommend highly. Is I thought you were a Fed. I thought you were a Fed. They're like, only a Fed would say that. No, only a Fed would say that. So they kind of said like maybe we're neither one of us are Feds, right? Unless we're all Feds.
Isn't it funny though how people misconstrued that and they're like, oh, 2 Feds are talking to each other? Like, everybody's got a narrative
going
and a
all the
niche.
way back. Look, I am sure this goes back to the Babylonians. Okay, this is probably old history by the time of the Greeks, but in the early part of the Soviet Union, they had a thing called Operation Trust. Okay, which is like QAnon. And they did this play over and over again. After World War II, they did this like in Lithuania and Poland. So you're trying to find who are the anti-communist, anti-Soviet dissidents. So you print up some stuff and stick it up like, the dissident brotherhood is going to be meeting. And it's like, God, I've just been waiting to hear from the dissident brotherhood. Please let me see that there's some kind of anti-communist uprising here. And so you go to the meeting, okay? And 10 guys meet at the abandoned warehouse for the Operation Trust. And the guy there is like a great speaker, hates communism, tell your friends it's legit. And so the next Operation Trust meeting, there's 100. Then the next Operation Trust meeting, there's 1,000. Then they're all arrested because Operation Trust was a KGB program the whole time. Okay. So this is nothing new. This whole thing about like, you're a Fed, you're a Fed. This is not new. This is like as old as anything. That I'm sure the Romans did that. If you're a Christian, meet here, a fish symbol. The first 10 Christians. Thank you, brother. And then when you get 1,000 Christians, you're off to the lions, right? So don't think like we're inventing the wheel. This is an old wheel. We're just rediscovering the same old wheel. But the thing with the Heritage Foundation, which is like a prism for seeing this thing through, where it's like, I'm sticking with Tucker. We're not going to be cowed off of this. And then like a week later, I'm sorry for saying that. I apologize. I'll go to the Wailing Wall. I'll touch the Wailing Wall. It's like, oh my God, please have a backbone.
But people are just not buying this anymore. And I said this, the future turning point, I said it will never be the same. And not that, I mean, they'll have their AmFest and I'm sure it'll be the biggest ever and they'll take in, I'm sure, a ton of money. But the young people are not buying this narrative anymore. They're just not.
No,
I mean, I watched, did you see Eric Trump and Laura Trump were at a Turning Point event and the kid asked about their father's relationship with Israel? It's a 4-minute clip. I don't know when it was.
I haven't seen that clip, but
I saw it yesterday.
I saw Erica on Fox, and I just can't do it. I just can't do it. It just is.
So
they're trying to make her like take your adoration of the great Charlie Saint and shift it to the adoration of the great Erica Saint. I can't buy it.
Well, how about the video she posted with her daughter looking through the window as they're driving by Turning Point? First of all, there's still no pictures of the kids. I mean, you've never seen the faces. Even pictures with them grayed out or blurred out, I've never seen.
I can't blame people for that. I mean,
but you would think that even an amateur, something would work its way to the internet, even if it's blurred out, and I've never seen it, which is just weird. But whatever. But like, she posts this video up of the daughter, and it was saying "daddy, daddy" and some other words, and then she attaches a Coldplay song to it, and I'm like, this is just, I'm sorry, it's just bizarre. It's like the pyrotechnics show. After they did here at the Cardinal Stadium in Glendale, they put that together in, 10 days? And then her interview with, was that Gutfeld she had the interview with? Or Jesse? The Fox interview, yeah.
Jesse. And then Laura replayed most of it, which I'm only like just flipping between channels, believe me. As soon as I saw like the first 2 minutes of Erica being like made like, shift your adoration of Charlie whoosh, to Erica. I can't do it.
Yeah, Megyn Kelly's coming here with James Woods and Walter Kern in November, and I was somewhat interested in going, but they added her to it, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go. I'm not really interested in that. I could still go because I'd like to see Walter, James Woods, and Megyn Kelly, but
Walter
Kern, Kirn.
Who's that?
He hosts a show with Matt Taibbi. Been media guy for a long time. And
yeah, Matt Taibbi is legit. He was in Russia like as a young journalist, learned Russian, all of that. He did the Twitter files with Schellenberg and one or two other people, but mainly it was Taibbi and Schellenberg. And one of the big takeaways, this is when Elon just took over Twitter, okay? Came in with the kitchen sink. So some of the early, and Taibbi and Schellenberg are from the left side, right? But that was smart. I thought at the time, that's smart because you can't bring in like, Sean Hannity to examine what's happening. You bring in somebody that leans left, like a Glenn Greenwald, bring them in. That, because people will believe what they say. And I've made this point so many times, but I'm so shadow banned on X. It's just pathetic. I am followed by like a page of huge accounts, right? I interact with them, I DM with them, and I can get like one new follower a freaking week, right? Anyway, so I know I'm shadow banned, but what the hell? What else can you do? So in the Twitter files, remember at the same time these videos were being put out to mock the Twitter DEI hires that were like, here's my day at Twitter. I go to the salad bar, then I go to yoga class, I check a few tweets, and then it's like, she's fired. Isn't that great? Yay, yay, new Twitter. All those useless DEI hires are fired. But in the Taibbi and Schellenberg Twitter files, they said, oh, there's this whole group of like 100 ex-FBI agents, former FBI agents. There's so many that they have their own internal Twitter email group and like Telegram group and Signal group, like the FBI guys. I never heard about them being fired. Never heard about them being fired. So Elon Musk, he's got irons and 10 fires. He's got Falcon and he's got Tesla. He's trying to build the giant batteries that will allow solar panel to do cities, because we're going to have 10p sized area will be a giant battery to power Phoenix, right? All that's standing between us and unlimited power is the right batteries. So I understand Elon Musk has irons and many fires, and the whole Starlink thing, where every week I can go out and tomorrow night I can go out on my front yard and watch another Falcon 9 go up, all right, with another 32 Starlinks. That's a DoD program. That is DoD. 100%. So his paymasters, there's got to be a negotiation. I love him. He's for Tommy Robinson, he funded his legal defense. He's talking about Ireland and talking about suicidal empathy and saving the West. I get that. He's on our side. But he never talked about what happened to those couple hundred former FBI guys moderating content at X. And I think that's part of a subtle thing, look, you can't push too far here. You got these other contracts. You got all these government tie-ins. As far as I know, the ex-FBI guys are still at X moderating content.
You cannot, in my opinion, you cannot become a billionaire on government contracts and say whatever you want. It just doesn't work that way.
You can't.
So you can't. He's entertaining. I appreciate look, X. It's a great prospecting tool.
Werner von Braun. So young Werner von Braun. There's a great Tom Lehrer song about Werner von Braun. And Werner von Braun's book was that he wrote. Remember, he was the Nazi V2 rocket guy that we grabbed under Operation Paperclip and took to northern Alabama, Redstone Arsenal, and all that stuff. And he created the Saturn V rocket, moon rocket. So his book, Werner von Braun's book, was called "I Aim for the Stars," and the joke was that the subtitle was, "But sometimes I hit London." It's okay, I'm looking past World War II. It sucks that I have to fire rockets at London and people die, but my goal is the stars. And if one stepping stone on this is the Nazis and the V2 program, and then it's the Americans with the Saturn V moon program, it's what we have to do to reach the stars. So Elon Musk, I think, is a great guy, but I think that he's we got to get to Mars. And if I've got to have Starlink be a military program that allows rockets to hit accurately and kill people, well, getting to Mars is more important.
Well, I don't think you get to that level though. You make some kind of deal with the devil.
But those FBI guys are still at X.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, I find him entertaining, but you're not worth that much money on government contracts, and you haven't made some type of deal with the devil.
A lot of people are like, is it 60-40 or 80-20? All right. Going back to Michael Yon and me with the, carrot, halter behind the back, bridles back at the barn. Is it 90-10? Is it 60-40? All right. If I can get to Mar-a-Lago my podcasts will go from 50,000 views to 5 million views. Then my message can reach 10 times, many more people. And I only have to just not talk about a few things, which I don't care that much about. Like Matt Walsh, he's still a Daily Wire guy. These Daily Wire guys, okay? So the Daily Wire guys make the same calculation.
Do you think Daily Wire is
All right.
sinking, Matt? Do you think they're
Matt Walsh and Knowles and those guys have huge numbers, right? And so does Candace Owens, even though I think she's gone batshit crazy mostly. The Charlie Kirk shooter was in like a spider hole right in front, and he jumped out and shot him from a hidden trapdoor. I mean, I think she's batshit crazy. You can start getting high on your own supply, right? But I love Matt Walsh. When he's talking about trans basketball players and all this, but it's like, look, I know you're going to put the bridle, the bit in my mouth, and sometimes a saddle, but I could never gallop as fast and as far without your help. So I'll accept that I just can't talk about Israel, for example, just one example, or the military-industrial complex. I can talk about social issues, welfare queens, trans, I can talk about all that. And now that I have 5 million viewers because I'm on Daily Wire, all right, overall in that 60-40, 80-20, I'm doing more good because doing the 60-40 to 5 million viewers I do more good than if I'm staying 95.5%, but only 5,000 people see my podcasts. So this is the Michael Yon, Matt Bracken thing. You're the horse way out. You haven't been ridden. You hate the saddle. And here comes that guy with a carrot. And it's like, go on this guy's podcast, right? And the next week you can be on this guy's podcast, and then you'll be at Mar-a-Lago. And then you might be a contributor on Fox News. And you'll be, you'll make you'll have so much impact on Fox News that just because you can't talk about these issues that aren't your main issues anyway, right? Just don't talk about those things. Talk about the things you really like to talk about. Like the two guys that took over for Rush Limbaugh, one of them is a sports gambling guy. Okay? You know what I'm talking about? Clay Travis and Buck and Clay,
Sexton,
whatever.
Buck Sexton.
Right. Buck Sexton, CIA guy, New Yorker. So he's like some, he's married, I think, but he's like a native New Yorker, meaning if you're a native New Yorker in media, you're trying so hard to get on Fox. You're just like, I'll live in a 200 square foot apartment for $4,000 a month. But if they call me at Fox, I'm ready to go, right? I'm not like in New Jersey or Pennsylvania. I live 2 minutes away. I can take my electric scooter to Fox. That's Buck Sexton, right? Clay Travis is I'm a cool, unshaven, roughneck sports guy, and I'm trying to addict people on sports online gambling. To me, that's why not just do porn or drugs?
Are you thinking about Dave Portnoy?
Clay Travis too.
Oh, is he doing that too? Online sports?
I
guess
I'm
I don't
wrong,
follow
but
him enough. I mean, Dave Portnoy does. But
I have to do a little. I know Portnoy is big time.
Yeah.
But Clay Travis is more like a middleman of it.
Oh.
But it's still like a gambling thing.
I didn't realize that. I mean, I don't follow him, so.
Yeah, and whenever there's like a gambling thing, like the NBA poker scandal 2 weeks ago, it's like, let's bring in our sports gambling expert, Clay Travis. But we're not going to mention his ads for sign up now
online
and get $50 of free gambling money.
Yeah,
if I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But
Portnoy's like mega for that.
Yeah, I want to shift.
And to me, what's the difference between that and the Tates? Andrew Tate. What's the difference?
Right.
You do gambling. He does, my friends kind of pimping.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't. You might be right. I don't follow Clay Travis enough to know that. But you said that. That's why I brought up the question. But I want to shift over to my conversation with Jack Gamble and Palantir and Nvidia, because to me, I think this is one of the most important stories of the week, and we'll see where it goes. But the fact that Michael Burry, who had not posted in a long time, comes out with a tweet, and I apologize, I don't have him pulled up here, but he wrote, sometimes it's better. Sometimes we see bubbles. Sometimes there's something to do about it. Sometimes the only winning move is not to play. But what I think is funny, he takes a picture of Christian Bale playing him from The Big Short, as Christian Bale at the beginning of the movie is looking at the computer monitor and realizing all these mortgages, what junk they are. And from there decides to short the housing market.
And people, people like Gamble, and they can dig into like where people are invested. Michael Burry has put 80% of his money, which is like, we're talking $1 billion as a private investor. He's put approximately 3/4 of that, or $800 million worth of it, in put options. So it's not just selling short, it's selling short gambling at a higher risk factor, right? Puts and options, multiples. So the pro Palantir side can say, oh, he's trying to move the market with like a hysteria, and when he fails, I'm going to stomp on his grave because he's such an anti-American.
And we're doing great things. We're doing great things here.
Oh yeah, and I love that guy on MSNBC. He said,
Alex Karp,
right now Palantir is like printing money, meaning like unbelievable profits, like profits nobody can explain. It's like, I love the Jack Gamble lemonade stand analogy. I tried to remember that on Alex Jones today. I was on the 4th hour of Alex Jones, but yeah, that there's really no income. It's all fake. It's like dad's buying 19 of your lemonade stand cups so you can put down that I just sold 20 today. Yeah, dad bought them, right? Then you're going to the bank and saying, look at my profits, loan me money so I can buy more lemonade. It's like,
and then the uncle comes in and buys 20 more. So now you sold 40.
Like options to buy. And then the next day he exercises them. Oh, we have 80. We sold 80 yesterday. No, you only sold one. You're selling to yourself. I forget what Jack Gamble calls it, like circular accounting, round robin accounting.
Round tripping.
Right, round tripping. So I love that. What's it called? Just an ordinary guy. What's it called?
Nobody's Special Finance on YouTube.
Nobody's Special Finance. Jack Gamble. Well, that was awesome. And when I posted that this morning, I couldn't believe all the people are like, "You follow him too?" I never heard of him before your show. I'm going back to one of the best things about this, free ranch podcasting space. I follow people. It's like everybody's like, "You don't already follow him?" All the time. I'm like, this guy's got, all these podcasts and I've never heard of him. And everybody's like, you haven't heard of him? So that's one of the best things about this space. I'm constantly going on to X and then writing into the search box and then following people constantly.
Well, and what about, though, also with that is the fact that NVIDIA was part of it, too, of the two companies that Michael Burry shorted. And then did you see Michael Burry's other posts? One about referencing
NVIDIA and Palantir.
Well, but did you see at the end of his post? And you know me, I'm a big 80s 90s movies guy. But the last line of that original post 6 days ago. So sometimes we see bubbles. Sometimes there's something to do about it. And then the last line is, sometimes the only winning move is not to play. Do you know what movie that's from?
It's like War Games or something.
Yeah, because remember the computer realized by the end.
Sure, it's a something syndrome or something paradox. There's a name for that, the something move, meaning there's a gosh, I'm so bad on my rhetoric, but there's a term meaning like the such and such paradox. the executioner or the prisoner's dilemma. That's it. The prisoner's dilemma. And it's like this old philosophical thing about what would you do in this circumstance? And the end result is the only result is don't play. Because in the prisoner's dilemma, it's like lose, lose, don't get there. So one way of looking at it is that Burry is trying to send out a warning to all the normies. That's like, one way of looking at it. What's his face's Alex Karp, Karp, like KRAP in Cincinnati. So Karp, like carp spelled like crap with it. Anyway, so Alex Karp is like, he's trying to talk down the greatest thing. AI is going to save America. AI is like, the next locomotive driving our whole industry forward. And he's making this big bet just so he can drive down the price and then cash out on it. But when you short, you risk everything. There's no limit on shorting. If you're on the long side of a investment, at any time you can get out with a 10% loss, or if you invest 80% of everything, which is most of your $1 billion, on the short side of something, you can be destroyed. Okay, and it's not just shorting, it's puts. So it's options that are multiplied. If Palantir continues to go to the moon and Burry can't ride it to the moon, he'll be destroyed. At some point, his risk and his loss is going to be so enormous, he'll have to like kill himself, or flee to another country with plastic surgery. So he's basically put a bet he's come into the casino and put a bet on the table that is so huge. Normies don't get this, and I barely get it, and I'm probably botching half of this. But he's putting a bet on the table so big that even normies have to pay attention. It's his way of saying 2008, great financial crisis, even worse.
Well, and when you start looking at this, first of all, I recommend to people that haven't seen that movie, The Big Short. It's a fantastic film. Like,
look, and if you can say this, there's a Dallas Cowboys second-round draft pick that killed himself, 24 years old. Got in a car chase. Marshawn Nealand. It's like, why do that? You got the whole future in front of you, right? You're a Michael Burry. You've been through everything for 30, 40 years.
Made enough money.
You have 10 million in Uruguay and 10 million in Argentina. You've got the property next to Doug Casey and Matt Smith and Bill Holter. You know what I mean?
Doesn't matter.
You got a jet that's just going to take you there.
Right.
So no matter what happens with your Big Short on Palantir and NVIDIA, even if it all goes wiped out, you'll be down there with a ranch. Okay. Yeah. People will say, oh, you tried to wreck a great company and it didn't work and now you're fleeing. So what? So it's not like he's going to be sleeping on a park bench ever. But what he did was he walked into the casino where everybody's playing craps, Alex Karp. So everybody's playing craps on the big crap table. And he just walked in, and whatever the guy that's throwing the dice said, he just put like 10 times more than that on, I bet against him. It's like, wow. He must know something about those dice.
You know what I look at it as, though? Like, there was a guy that used to go to Las Vegas. He's probably not even alive anymore. He was an Australian billionaire that small casinos would not allow in because he would literally try to play all the spots on blackjack, but he would put minimum like 100,000 per hand, 5 hands at once, or 7 hands at once, or whatever.
I love all those blackjack movies.
But to me, what Burry is doing there, I feel like he's coming into a small casino because these guys are all making a ton of money. They're becoming billionaires, and he's saying, "All right, I'm taking you on." Like, it's
the greater right, but they're saying
breaking the house.
They're all going to the moon on the greater fool theory, right? And I recommend that everybody watch the Coffee and a Mike with Jack Gamble, the whole thing, because The clip, the like 13-minute clip is excellent. The lemonade stand analogy, they're not really making any money. They're faking profits by selling shit back and forth to each other, right? I'll set up a company to make AI power plants, and you'll set up a company, and we're taking the same Monet painting, okay? I just bought it for $1 million. I sold it to you for $2 million. You sold it to my friend for $4 million. He sold it back to me. You know, I'm leasing an option on it. It's all crap. It's financialization. There's no railroad behind it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they're building data centers. Ooh, you know, cue the orchestral, angelic music. Data centers. Ooh, there's our salvation. We're going to have AI. AI is going to take us to Mars. AI is going to be our salvation. It's like, why do you think Bill Gates just turned away from climate change? We need to use less energy to climate change. Forget that. AI is our salvation. We got to build more data centers that require 5 times more power production. It's like, come on, folks. We're the rubes. We're the gulls. We're the morons in the audience going, okay, yeah, it's the next big thing. What's that FOMO? What's that FOMO stand for?
Fear of missing out. Fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. Oh my God, Palantir. Have you seen? I have intelligent family members that were talking to me about Enron. They were saying, Matt, you got to buy Enron. Enron is like straight to the moon. This energy company. Energy. Ooh, remember? So now AI is like, we need more energy. It's going to energize. And Enron was like, this company has figured out all about energy. Matt, you have to buy Enron. And we know how that ended.
Well, and how much are people's pensions and retirements tied into NVIDIA? And here was the other thing.
Because the pension fund managers have to find a way to make percentages. And so you've got to jump on the next, parabolic rocket. You have to, just to stay even. So when the parabolic rocket turns the other way, all of these pension funds are going to be wiped out. And the whole thing, I got to go in a minute, but the whole thing.
You got to go? We're done? We're wrapping up already?
Go. Yeah, I got to wrap it up. But the whole thing with, just stay on the rocket every time, it always ends in disaster. All right. And all these smart people are talking about, well, they're going to revalue gold. They're going to do some trickery, ledger domain, and they're going to say now gold is 50,000 an ounce, and so our debt is wiped out. It's like, in what real world does that work? Okay, on paper, that's what the Weimar Republic did. They hyperinflated so that they could pay off their reparations to the Allies in hyperinflated Reichmarks, right? But what did it do to Germany? It destroyed Germany. So the idea that we're going to save the economy by revaluing gold, and there goes our debt is gone by magic. What's that going to do to teachers' salaries when it's like worse than Russia in 1995 and you can't buy a loaf of bread with $1,000?
Do you think that's imminent? This is imminent, like this collapse, and
we're all standing. Well, look, right now we're all on this sinking ship, and all of our leaders are in a Mexican standoff. I won't blink. You won't blink. I will not be the first to back down from the government shutdown, and the ship is sinking.
I know you got to jump, but like if you could do a fast version, tomorrow they're going to start doing reduction in airlines. And to me, this feels like a controlled demolition. And also it feels like a soft martial law, how they're just limiting movement again.
How can you, like, I'm going back to the engine analogy. You're on a long road trip. You've got 400 more miles to go before you get to your comfort inn. And all day the engine warning light's been on. Now it's blinking, and now your heat's over there. Do you really think the engine, there's a great line in the movie Brazil with Robert De Niro, who I
Never saw that.
despise,
I
but it's a
never
great
saw that.
movie.
Never saw that movie.
He says the guy comes in and fixes the HVAC guy, and then the stormtroopers come in and they say, HVAC systems don't fix themselves, right? We're not at the point where somebody comes onto the Titanic when it's like this and says, don't worry, I've got a plan to helicopter. The helicopters haven't been invented yet, but we're going to helicopter pumps onto the Titanic. Don't worry. We're going to have this water out of here in no time. Patches on the hull. Don't worry. I'm sorry. I'm heading for the lifeboat. When I hear this shit, I'm heading for the lifeboat. We're making my own.
Do you save me a spot? Do you feel like it's a soft form of martial law? Last question. Do you feel? I mean, is it me? Am I wrong by saying that?
No, I don't think it's a soft form of martial law. I think we're gearing up towards a mega Fort Sumter, where New York is so dysfunctional that Trump sends in like the 82nd Airborne, and Antifa's like ready to meet them, and it's Fort Sumter, and it's game on.
Do you think this?
That's one outcome. That's just one. You could have a cyber. China could say now's the perfect time to shut off all their water systems.
What about this financial? What about Nvidia? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what about like this? What we're talking about, Michael Burry and Nvidia, and
it's a total bubble.
But I mean, when it pops,
it's Jack Gamble's lemonade stand.
But when it sounds like it's imminent. If it pops, people are going to lose everything, and
right,
way worse than 2008.
Pension funds and people's pensions will go bust. So you'll have all these people that are like eating dog food, and they're going to be really pissed. But look, I got to go.
Where can people find you?
On X, Matt_Bracken 48, and you can get my books, all these great books that I've written for many, many years. You can get them from me, which is better than Amazon, because Amazon pays me like 2 shekels per book. But if you get them from me, from enemiesforeignanddomestic.com, then you can, I'll sign them and send them right to you. It saves me and you. I get like a shekel from Amazon, seriously.
As always, thanks for doing this, and I know it won't be too long before we talk again.
I'm sure.
Mike, thanks.